Good morning and a very warm welcome to all presenters and participants in today's webinar. The webinar today on business partnership opportunities as part of the forthcoming Clusters Meet Regions event and matchmaking in Kosice, 29 to 30th of March 2023. I will, before starting the webinar today, I will just quickly introduce you to housekeeping rules. This webinar is scheduled to last 1 hour and 15 minutes. The webinar will be recorded and later on will be published on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. All participants are in listening mode, and to ask questions during the different sessions, please use the Q&A box. So without further delay, let's first check the agenda of the event today, the webinar. If we can, so there would be an opening session. After that, there will be a presentation on the original approach and presenting the input paper, a session on market access information, collaboration opportunities and guidelines on how to do business with Ukraine and invest in Ukraine. After that, we will follow the presentation on the overall agenda of the Cluster Meet Regions in Kosice, and then technical aspects related to the B2Match and the actual matchmaking events. At the very end of the webinar, there will be a time for the questions and answers, and obviously for the next steps. So without further delay, let's go to the opening session, and I would like to give the floor to Marek Pshor, the team leader, cluster policy at DigiGrow, the European Commission. Marek, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Theodora. Welcome everyone to this preparatory webinar, which is about attracting you to come to Kosice, be it on-site or online. This month, we've had the first anniversary of the Russian aggression on Ukraine. And since February last year, a lot happened in tightening relations between the EU and Ukraine. During this year, we went through humanitarian support, provision of basic goods needed to survive, welcoming the inflow of people from Ukraine in the EU, facilitating solidarity lanes to enable export of agricultural products from Ukraine, and ensuring help while critical energy infrastructure was destroyed by Russians to make Ukrainian people freeze and without electricity during the wintertime. A lot of happened, and the spring is coming. Ukraine was declared officially a candidate country in June 2022. Since then, it's not just a country neighboring EU, but also an EU candidate country for membership of the European Union. And in this context, we want to organize the event, all the more so stressed very much by the February the 2nd this year meeting, where the College of EU Commissioners and Ukrainian government basically gathered around the same table in Kiev in order to work not only on sustaining the Ukrainian people now, but also how to build a future for Ukraine in the European Union. In our context, it's very important then to integrate the Ukrainian companies in the EU value chains. So the event in Kosice will be organized, and it cannot be organized in Ukraine for obvious reasons, but thanks to our Slovak clusters and the Slovak Energy and Innovation Agency, we can meet in Kosice in Slovakia, close to the Ukrainian border. This will be a good occasion to discuss the role of cluster organizations and other business support organizations, of which many are members of the Enterprise Europe network, in stimulating regional economic development and facilitate interregional collaboration within the EU and between EU and Ukraine, and build together capacity to do business also beyond EU borders. We want to be as practical as possible for EU and Ukrainian clusters and businesses, EU and Ukrainian clusters and businesses which can collaborate with each other. That's why there will be an informative session, how to do business with Ukraine and how to do business inside Ukraine, including trade and investment opportunities. We also want to raise awareness about the funding instruments, which could be used for the purpose of tightening business relations between the EU and Ukrainian clusters. You will have the occasion to hear presentations, pitchings of the Ukrainian and the EU cluster representatives on the following areas like health, agri-food, textiles, energy, Industry 4.0, ICT, defense, raw materials, and last but not least, social economy. The matchmaking will also be organized to enable first contacts between EU clusters and companies, as well as between EU and Ukrainian clusters and companies. Everyone is welcome who wants to contribute in the process of integrating Ukrainian companies and clusters into the EU value chains. On behalf of the European Commission, I would like to invite you to participate in this event. Find contacts to have business partners across EU and with Ukrainian clusters and companies. Please register as soon as possible at the website of the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. The number of participants on site, unfortunately, is limited, but for the ones who we will not be able to accommodate on site, online participating and matchmaking is possible. See you in Kosice, and we are inviting you to join us in the efforts of integrating Ukrainian companies into the EU value chains. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marek. And I would like to give the floor now to our hosts in Kosice, Mr. Artur Bobovnički, Director of Innovation, Slovak Innovation and Energy Agency. Artur, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Theodora. Good morning, everybody. It's already 5 months since we met in Prague on European Cluster Conference, and both European Commission and Ukraine clusters have expressed request or demand to organize clusters meet regions on behalf of Ukraine in Slovakia. Our immediate response or reaction was positive, not only because the fact that in Slovakia cluster ecosystem is dynamically growing in the last few years, and we need to develop opportunities for the internationalization. The other, and maybe the more important reason, was the fact that Slovakia is among other countries that are supporting the heroic battle of Ukrainian people for the freedom of their country. And this initiative is just a small contribution of European Union and Slovakia for the support and encouragement. The next clusters meet regions will be held in the city of Kosice, the second biggest city of Slovakia, and which is full of fusions, cultural and ethnical, history and modernity. It is the city that you will find many influences of Germans, Hungarians, Russians, Roma, Jewish, and maybe some other nations too. That also means the city is very open-minded and is welcoming all incomers. Our meeting will be held in Kasárne Kulturpark, the place that clearly showing aspects of humanity that is so much needed nowadays. The place that was once in the past military base and military bakery, and that was fully redeveloped in 2013 with the aim to provide space for the creation and presentation of elements of the highest quality for contemporary culture and art in the area of music, visual arts, literature, film, theater, and dance. Now it is place for our conference. I hope this will attract you to come in person. I know Marek mentioned the number of the places is limited, but it's always, or every conference has some limitations. But we are very much looking for all who are joining us, whether it will be in person or in online. And we are very much looking forward to welcoming you in Kosice. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the welcoming words, Artur, and thank you very much for the all hard work you've been doing so far to make this event happening on the entire team. So now let's give the floor to Ukrainian colleagues, and I would like to welcome on the floor Olga Trofimova, Director of Internationalization of Ukrainian Cluster Alliance. Olga, please.
Thank you so much. Well, it's very interesting that exactly during the conference, which will have Cluster Meets region in Kosice, it will be 1 year of our Ukrainian Cluster Alliance, because exactly on 24th of March in 2022, our Ukrainian Cluster Alliance established. And from the beginning of the war, every day, we had meetings, and thank you so much for DG Grow, for European Commission, and for European Cluster Alliance, who give us their hand and switch on the light on a darkness which we had from the beginning of the full-scale war. And we didn't give up, and we will never do. And definitely we had very proactive position. And from the beginning of the war, we have united 16 clusters. And right now we do have 58 clusters. Every month, clusters are joining Ukrainian Cluster Alliance. New clusters arising in Ukraine, because we know that only when we unite, we could do something and we could build our common European future. This is the only way where we have chosen by our own, and we are going on, and we would like to invite all participants and to see good practices, how cluster movement works in Europe. And we also would like to invite you to show, I'm sure it will be a lot of interesting cases, how this magical triangle of businesses, science research institutes, and state organizations work together as ecosystems who are building ecosystems and building our economies. Arthur said about Prague, but I also remember the day when we submit our form to have this conference cluster meet regions. Our position, proactive position to be, to build our cluster movement future is definitely should be also kind of an example how to hold economic front in Ukraine and how to be again united for our future. So I'm really sure that this event will show us good practices, how to cooperate and how to be included into value chain of European Union. Thank you, and you are welcome to the event.
Thank you, Olga, for all the hard work you've been doing, and not only uniting the clusters, but being on a everyday with bringing them together and putting them together with all the European clusters. So trying to make a successful collaboration. So thank you very much for that. And
a small add, we had some funny results, but we really calculated that we had more than 300 international meetings during this year, more than 300 internal meetings during this year, more than 20 conferences inside and outside. And during this 1 year, I think we become older for half of our life, but for 10 years for sure. So we're definitely not 1 year old, so we are much older right now.
Yes, this speaks really a lot, what you've just said. So really, thank you very much for that. And I would like as well to give the floor to Mr. Taras Holub, advisor for Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine. Taras, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to have speech here. Ukrainian people made their choice to break away from old world of USSR and transform themselves to become a proper part of pan-European family. This happened back in 2014. I would like to emphasize that it was the choice that led Russia to their aggression, and as a result, the implementation of this choice, Russia starts full-scale invasion to Ukraine on 24th February of last year. We are thankful that this choice was supported by the European Union by granting to Ukraine EU candidateship status. We understand this decision requires a lot of homework from Ukraine. From Ukrainian public, from Ukrainian businesses, from Ukrainian authorities. We feel our responsibility and commitment to be a value part of Europe and bring our benefits to pan-European family. Ukraine is a big country with a big population. Ukraine went through a crisis of previous period of de-integration of economic system from USSR. And full-scale invasion of Russia destroys the Ukrainian economy today. But our choice lead us to rebuild our economy in a new format, to be available part of European Union. The participants of European cluster arrangement have become particularly important for Ukrainian businesses in this rebuilding. It can help Ukrainian businesses to find their effective place in European supply chain. What can Ukraine offer to EU? Territories with rich natural resources, qualified personnel, and a sustainable domestic market. It can help business, but not only that. We offer a creative community of people ready to fight for freedom and work for property at own home. Today, 81% of Ukrainians supports European integration and link their future to a common European home. What we expect from European Cluster Alliance platform event? First of all, there is networking. We hope that exchange of ideas will allow find directions for effective and mutually beneficial cooperation between companies, organizations of Ukraine and the European Union. I would like to appoint a couple of initiatives that we would like to present during the event to find supporters and for the implementation of these initiatives. First of all, that is signing of MOU between Ukrainian government and the government of Slovak Republic on joint application of for projects of common interest on funding from European Commission. We expect that this joint work on projects will become a basis for the sustainable development of cooperation between Ukraine and Ukrainian and European partners. The second initiative is addressed to European Commission with the hope of providing administrative support to this initiative. That is project of Ministry of Economics of Ukraine called Export Booster. The project intend to identify goods and services which was exported to European Union from Russia and to offer alternative goods and services from Ukraine instead of Russian. The third initiative aims at cooperation in regional cross-border development. Representatives from Ukraine and Slovak regions will discuss the perspectives of establishing an EGTC association to develop economic integration project on both sides of the border. I'm sure these examples of common work will lead us to build our common future in future world, far away from barbarian world of Russian trying to pull us back. Thank you for good cooperation for you, your companies, and your organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, Taras, for your opening words. And of course, we will have a chance to see you and hear you again at the event in Kosice. So now we will be moving on the next part of the webinar today. This is the presentation of the input paper, an overview of the regional approach. So will be done by our colleague Jan Philipp Kramer. Jan, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to be here and in this round of people and with all of you. I have indeed the pleasure to present not the full paper to you, but to give you some early insights into what we will be presenting in Kosice and what we are preparing in order to help this development of integration of Ukraine economy into the single market. And many things have already been mentioned in the introductory remarks, how this could be done and how this could be facilitated. And our purpose of the input paper is to provide some economic intelligence on the cluster ecosystems to support this development. So what we have prepared, or what we are in the process of preparing, is key insights, information analysis that can help, as I said, this integration process, looking at Ukrainian clusters and companies and relevant value chains. We will be highlighting some obviously very dynamic and important contextual figures on the economic profiles, giving us some understanding of the industrial structures. We will, as Mr. Holub has already mentioned, look very explicitly also into the question of loss of supply, loss of export markets, and the EU-Ukraine trade flows in order to, again, give some insights to the building of priorities. And how do we do that? Basically implement these priorities. I think the cluster ecosystem will be of vital importance here. And we have heard both from Artur and Olga how the dynamics in both of the directly involved, but also in the broader context of the macro region ecosystems are performing. And last but not least, international cooperation and capacity building and the potential for interregional cluster collaboration will be very vital to the paper we are preparing, so that you can be informed when coming to the event and build already, maybe now based on some of the information I will be providing, your thoughts on collaboration opportunities. And why are clusters so important? If you take a look at the right side picture, it is not specific now on the situation we're discussing here, but it's showcasing to you why cluster organizations can be of so vital importance in promoting collaboration, maybe even more nowadays in this context as before. And I think Olga mentioned it, there's dynamics and there are market informations you need, identifying opportunities on both sides, trying to find partners, so helping the matchmaking process. Develop projects, right? Project development, translating this market intelligence and matchmaking into actual projects. And for some part, of course, also transferring knowledge and technology. The end means is to develop new value chains. And I think this is something this event in Kosice is aimed at doing, networking across boundaries. So, just a few first insights on the trade flows, right? On the left-hand side, you can see this in an aggregate picture. How has the trade development between the EU27 and Ukraine developed over time? We now have a 10-year timeline here from 2011 to 2021 using latest data. And obviously, you can see that already due to the first part of the aggression in 2014-15, you see a drop in the trade volumes. So it's not a very new situation, but I think the positive news is it increased thereafter, both in the terms of imports and exports. And it also increased since we saw the aggression again, moving closer and higher as before. So we hope that this trend continues, but it shows you a certain trend already. More specifically, of course, there has been loss of supply from an EU perspective, right? And this is very fundamental, in fact, to the European economy and its performance overall. We have especially seen this challenge in terms of raw materials, which are lost in supply. Fuel and gas to be mentioned as most prominent ones, and we have seen the adaptation needs in the European economy, especially in larger member states such as Germany. But there are also other materials such as metal products which have been lost in supply, and I think that's one of the first messages which can partially also be substituted from Ukraine. If you look at the EU-Ukraine trade, of course, we see known commodities or known products from the agri sector, food and agricultural products, which are well known as being core, but we also have other commodities which are relevant already nowadays and which can be increasingly important in the future when looking at other commodities like cables, electric conductors, which are at the moment the most imported products or commodities into the EU. Final point, lost exports. Of course, for the EU, Russia has been a market and it's not anymore. That's very clear. And I think looking at this from another perspective, the machinery and transport equipment that the European economy is quite strong in will also be decisive in the modernization of Ukraine in the future. And therefore, this is also an element we have to consider. We, I think, all know that the economic capacity in Ukraine was hardly hit, amongst other things that were significantly affected and are a humanitarian disaster. But I think the progression that we see already in these figures and that can continue are also a means of optimism. Now, we have collected some information, in fact, by the newly established Ukrainian Cluster Alliance, talking about the industrial ecosystems that the European industrial policy is focusing on. There are 14 of those industrial ecosystems, and the experts in the Ukrainian Cluster Alliance have pointed out 8 of those which are of particular interest in order to work on cluster collaboration and establishing new value chains. They include aerospace and defense, agri-food, construction, digital, energy and renewables, health, mobility, transport, automotive, and textile. And I think this already gives you a good idea, of course, of industries which are relevant to the Ukrainian economy, but also fields of the future, if we take digital, for instance, right? So these are very important fields. And on the right-hand side, we have looked into the macro region again. So the Danube region is included, also the Baltic region is included, and of course, Slovakia is included, and the relevant cluster organizations by these industrial ecosystems. And we can see that a good one-fourth, in fact, of the cluster organizations belongs to the digital industrial ecosystem. And I think there's lots of dynamic. It's a very important future topic, and I see a lot of room also for collaboration. All in all, we have identified around 180 cluster organizations in the macro region, excluding the Ukrainian ones. So the counterpart is also significant, as Olga informed us, that are interesting to look at and that are potential for the collaboration that we want to build. The second most important field is energy renewables with 28 cluster organizations, health, mobility and transport, and agri-food. And I wouldn't say that any of the others, even if there are only 4 on textile, are not important. There is a potential in all of these. And as Artur was mentioning, also the Slovakian cluster ecosystem is increasingly dynamic, and at least 14 cluster organizations in these 180 are from Slovakia. So this brings me really to my end already of this snapshot. We will provide more insights on site, but we will also provide this paper for you beforehand in order for you to be able to inform yourself, and then speak more intensively about the economic development trajectories, the lost supply and export markets, the cluster landscape in more detail, but also, as I said already, the collaboration potentials and opportunities that we see for interregional cooperation. I'm looking forward to see you in Kosice.
Thank you, Jan, and I will allow me to repeat that the input paper will be shared with all registered participants for the actual event, as well as after the event will be published on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. But during the actual event, there will be more extensive presentation of the paper. So thank you very much for this snapshot and your participation today. So now we will be moving on the next session, which is the market access information. And we will be talking about collaboration opportunities and guidelines on how to do business with Ukraine and invest in Ukraine. So I'll give the floor to Martin Dis, Senior Expert DG Grow, the European Commission. Martin, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Theodora. Can you all see my screen?
If you can make it in a full screen, would be good.
Does it work now?
Not yet.
Yes?
Yes, now it's fine.
Okay, very good. So I'm very happy and proud to be able to chair that session that will take place in the afternoon of the first day. It will be a very practical session open to, I would say, everybody who is interested to know about very practical information on how to do business and how to invest in Ukraine today. So it will be open to businesses, to business organization, to clusters, to Enterprise Europe network partners. So basically it will be, I would say, a very probably something that was not stressed so much until now, open, like the conference will be open to a lot of business organization. And we really hope to have a very interesting discussion with no waffling, as I said, very practical information from eminent experts, and also who will be able to offer you very practical information about the reality of the situation on the ground. I think this is extremely important because, as we have been already experiencing during this last year, Ukrainian businesses have shown a very high level of resilience. They have really shown that they want to work with the EU. They want to, they don't want to wait until Ukraine is accessing the EU, and we are on the EU side very much in favor of facilitating these business opportunities already from now on. And we believe it's a time, an excellent moment to really consider all the opportunities. So I don't want to cover the short presentation that will be given by two of our eminent speakers who are here today. But I would just like to stress that on this day, I will also tell you about two new calls for proposals. In fact, they have been launched today as part of the Single Market Work Program. Every year, we focus on different priorities. And for this year, for this work program of 2023, we have decided to focus on supporting supporting Ukrainian businesses and entrepreneurs to be ready for entering the single market. That's why the two calls are under the same denomination, Ready for EU. If you want to see the details of this call for proposals that have been published today, looking to the tender portal of the European Commission, you will get all the information. I can already give you a preview about these two calls, and of course I will be happy to give you more details during this session on the 29th of March. In fact, it will be the ideal moment because the deadline to submit your proposal will be a month later. So really perfect timing. The first call business bridge will be for an amount of 4.5 million. And the objective is to set up a network of different business support organizations that will have the responsibility of selecting up to 1,500 Ukrainian companies who are export-oriented, who have suffered from the war, and who want to enter the EU market. These companies will be able to receive about or up to 2,500 2,500 euros in order to adapt their products or services to the EU market, in order to take part in fairs and exhibition in the EU, and really to benefit, I would say, from all the knowledge that you need to have whenever you want to go international and enter a new market. So very important opportunity, which is, as I said, very timely. We hope to have a lot of companies in Ukraine who will be interested to take part and benefit from this, I would say, very timely and interesting opportunity. Then the other call is a prolongation of an activity or program that we have already been running until now. It's called Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs. This program is helping would-be entrepreneurs, so entrepreneurs who have set up a business in the last 3 years and no more than 3 years of experience, and who want to learn from a more experienced entrepreneur in the EU. So this is like a training program from 1 to 6 months. It can take place physically. So this is very good for all the displaced Ukrainians who are now based in Europe, but you can also do it online. And the benefits of this program have been now demonstrated over the last 10 years that this program has been in place. The benefits are enormous, both for the new entrepreneur, but also the host company, who can learn from an, I would say, explore new opportunities, explore new markets, network. So in this case, like for Business Bridge, I would say these are huge opportunities that are extremely concrete and that we will be discussing in more details. Let me also, and this will be my last slide, tell you that this practical session on the first day is going to be very complementary to another session that will take place the following morning, where we will also have high-level speakers from the Commission, but also from other international financial institutions, and also the director of EIT Manufacturing Central, and also Investment Promotion Agency, where we will more focus on investment and financial opportunities for doing business in Ukraine. So I really hope you will be able to join. This is a unique opportunity, and I will make sure as a chairman that we won't be going into political discussions, we won't be going into economic analysis. We want you to have the tools to be able then to consider starting a business with Ukraine. If you are Ukrainian, you will know more concretely what it means to enter the EU market, what you need to know. And for that, with no further ado, I will pass on the floor to my colleagues who are, as I said, eminent speakers and who know exactly what is the situation on the ground today and why it is important to work with Ukraine in these days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. And as you mentioned, I mean, this would be a very practical panel on the day. So we are giving the floor to members from your panel, welcoming Gennady Tuzhikov, President of the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Theodora. And for me and for Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, it is a big pleasure to take part on the forum what will be in Kosice on 29-30 of March. Before this forum, I would like to say what the economical and business relation for our organizations is very important, and for Ukraine as well. As you know, the 1 year of war, it's provocated, the war provocated by Russia, and despite this war, Ukraine demonstrated, and Ukraine business demonstrated a very high level of resilience. I would like to attract attention what's despite what we during this war, we last year lost nearby 30% of GDP. Inflation increased, unfortunately, around the 30% of 30%. The export also down nearby 30%. Ukrainian business working. Ukrainian business tried to do our best. And according to our information, nearby 85% of Ukrainian businesses, it's micro business, small business, big business, trying to continue their activities. Of course, it's not easy sometimes, but some businesses working for 20%, some business working for 100 and maybe sometimes more of their capacities. This just I would like to share with you what Ukrainian business continue to work. It's very important, and Ukraine is waiting for new contacts. We are looking for some new partners, etc. That's why my main focus of the we will do on the focus on the how to do business in Ukraine. For us, it's very important. First of all, I would like to present what some industries demonstrated quite good results. For example, agriculture sector. For example, this is IT sector, creative sector. We are working practically on the 100 of their capacities. But at the same time, we see what metallurgical sector lost nearby 50–60% of their capacities, what it was before. Ukraine is very much export-oriented country. Every year, before the war, we exported nearby 100 million tons of agriculture product, metals, metal products, and many others products. And for this, we used 18 seaports. Now we unfortunately due to this war we can to use only one port in Odessa, and you know this is a very special program, Green Corridor, supported by our partners from many countries and European nations as well. Due to this, we exported nearby by this port nearby 22 million tons of agriculture products. But now the 90% of our export directed to the west, to the western border. That's why the role of our communication with our neighbor country, with Slovakia, with Republic, with Poland, with Romania, with Moldova, and some other countries are very important. And that's why we are looking for some new opportunities, and we are looking for some new partners who are ready to support us in the infrastructural project, in logistics projects, and it will be very important for us for next many years. That's why we are very much interested in the international investment, and Ukraine now doing a lot in this direction. Our approach is not needed and waiting for the end of the war. We need to start cooperate now, and we do a lot in this direction. We organize a lot of bilateral, multilateral meetings with business. We every hour 20 from our regions prepare special programs for investment. Businesses are ready to also to prepare to demonstrate where are possibilities for attracting investment as well. That's why, from my point of view, on next our meeting with you on 29th of March in Kosice, it will be very important because we will ready to prepare and to demonstrate new opportunities in cooperation in Ukraine. We will give you the real life hack how to work, if I can say, how to work, how to make a business with Ukraine. And from our side, like Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, as many others business association in Ukraine, are ready to support any our partners from abroad to find the right partners to accompany investment, to accompany the desire of our friends and colleagues to work in Ukraine. Also, I would like to say now the Ukraine also, and the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce is a coordinator of European Enterprise Network in Ukraine, and it's very important program for us. We assist hundreds and hundreds Ukrainian business to find some new partners abroad and to work further. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and we are waiting new meetings with you in Kosice on 29th of March. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and we are all looking forward to the actual event in Kosice and for this very practical session, but of course to all the opportunities. So for a couple of words, I'm also giving the floor to Sergei Zivkach, CEO of the Ukraine Invest. Sergei, are you with us?
Yes, can you see me? Can you hear me?
If we hear you, yes, so please, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I have a small presentation. Can I just use it? It's not here for some reason.
It is
it's opened on my desktop, but it's not here.
I mean, the webinar today is just for a teaser for the actual event. So if you can find it, I mean, you can just introduce what will be the main for the actual
Oh,
day.
yeah, I found it. It's
Okay.
It's on now.
Okay.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes, yes.
And okay, so we'll be talking, we are the Government of Ukraine Investment Promotion Agency. So we'll be talking about practical projects that we support right now. I think it's important to send a message about implementation of projects right now in Ukraine, which sectors, what kind of projects. We are focused only on private sector. We are not engaged in reconstruction of infrastructure and buildings, housing, things like that. We are mostly focused on manufacturing in Ukraine, which is very important to do when you have a cluster approach development. So we have 16 projects right now in our pipeline, total amount of investments about $2.3 billion. 72% of this, not projects, but amount of money that is planned to invest is from Ukraine, and 30% from abroad. Logistics, building materials, mining industry, agriculture, resorts and recreation, and rehabilitation as well. Amongst our companies that will present, Kingspan, Bayer International Company, then Ukrainian companies like Astarta, Epicenter, Varus, Volia, Zamler, and Eurocar. So we will not only be talking about amounts of projects, but we will be presenting specific teasers about projects for companies to have a look at it and assess their interest. We'll be also talking about investment incentives that are available in Ukraine, specifically about state law on support for significant investment projects. We, as Ukrainian IPA, are responsible for support for preparation of applications according to this law, and then support of projects during their implementation. So at the moment, we have 7 projects for more than $1.2 billion US. 50% from Ukraine, about 50% from Ukraine, 50% from abroad in terms of amount of investment. So we will cover that as well. We'll also present information about industrial parks, land plots that are available in Ukraine, and about Ukrainian companies that can become partners. So it's not only about greenfields, but also about joint ventures for development of investments and business cooperation between Ukraine and our European partners. So that's briefly what we are going to talk about. Also, there will be information about macroeconomic situation in Ukraine and state of support, international support for Ukraine that brings more stability to our economy and regional stability as well. So that's briefly about what we will do.
Thank you for this presentation, and as has been already mentioned, more in depth, those topics will be discussed during the actual day of the event in the in the panel. So we are all looking forward to that because it is a really important matter on collaboration and doing business and investing in Ukraine. So I just want to remind here that all the materials as well as the recording from today's webinar will be uploaded on the European Cluster and shared on the European Cluster Collaboration platform together with the presentations. So as we are running a bit late with the time, very quickly I'll make a note about the overall program of the Cluster Meet Regions event later on in the month. So as you already know, this is a two-day event. What is very important, so during the first day, at the beginning of the day, there will be the first Slovak National Cluster Conference. This event, this part of the event will be open for the Slovak clusters and organizations only and will be in the Slovak language. And after that, we'll start with the actual Cluster Meet regions. Here, I just basically want to point out for everyone who hasn't registered yet to register about the event, and during the registration process to select all the activities that might be interested. This is the site visit on the 29th, also the participation in the pitching session. Earlier, both Marek and Ian have pointed the thematic areas as well as the selected ecosystems. So we will give an opportunity for different organizations to participate in the pitching session. If you already have registered and haven't selected that option, please email us to on the Cluster Collaboration email address so we can see what is your proposal. Usually the pitching session, everyone is given 3 minutes. You present in 3 slides what you're looking for, what you offer, and some brief information about your organization. There will be a special briefing session for all that will be participating and have been selected to take part in the pitching session. And also during the registration, please select if you're interested to take part in the matchmaking event. More information will follow shortly from my colleague Daniel, but you know that the matchmaking will be for all those that are on site, online, and will have a hybrid format as well. So when start planning your trip, we will be publishing very shortly practical information for the participants on the European Cluster Collaboration platform. So please visit the event pages. We will be updating the agenda with the speakers. We will be sharing information on the practical aspects. So I don't want to take more of your time, and these are the practical information and the agenda in general for the 2 days. So I'll be moving to the next practical information, which will be presented by Daniel Kosice with regards to the matchmaking part of the event. Daniel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Theodora. So Thank you for your interest in this webinar, which is a teaser, as Marek said, for the actual event in Kosice. So we will all the registration is taking place, and so the digital tool for our conference is B2Match. Is B2Match. You have the link both on the you have the agenda also in the ECCP website. So to go on and to take part to this conference, first, of course, you have to register to log in. This you will find, as I show you here, you will find in the upper corner. After you register for the event, you will be able to log in. Please register with a business email, not with a Gmail or Yahoo email, because as you can imagine, we have to verify the people who participate, because yes, so, and this will spare additional verification effort, and will allow us a very a smooth approval process of the participants. So after you have registered, you can participate both online, both on-site or remotely online. So then you choose how you participate. After doing this, you will come to the agenda. Depending on the choice you have made, if you made a remote choice, of course you will be shown only the agenda which will take place remotely. If you have chosen to participate on-site, then you can choose from all the program. As you see here, you can click on the sessions you want to attend, including site visits, including the first Slovak cluster conference, and including the matchmaking event. So how to use this platform? So when you have registered, this is, as an example, this is my account. Of course, if you have already participated in B2Match events, then you will register, of course, with your account. You don't have to create a new account. So this is, for example, I give the example of my account. So first of all, you have to go to Marketplace, because then you have to fill in your profile, your cooperation offers or requests. Because if you go for a matchmaking, then it means you are looking for something or you are offering something, and you go to the Marketplace, and then you can start to add your business opportunities, which can be of different types of services, of a partnership. For example, if you are looking, for example, for joint production with a counterpart. If you are interested to participate in international cooperation projects, then you go to project cooperations. If you want to invest or you are looking for investments, you go for investment. If you have knowledge to share, or you are looking for knowledge transfer, you go to expertise. For example, experts coming to your company to support you in restructuring the business model. For example, you go for expertise, and yes, then you have any other requests which might not fit in this panel, in this menu. For example, I have given as an example, so we are, as a Romanian Cluster Association, we are very interested, for example, in participating in international cooperation projects, because we have the problem of the value chain disruptions, and we would like to beneficiate from transfer of best practices, and we also like to integrate our companies in international value chains based on green and digital transformation processes. And this is why I have described here shortly this. And then I selected, you see on the screen, I have selected all the topics from the 14 industrial ecosystems which fit with the members of our association, and the type of cooperation I am looking for. So you can choose, so you can make your offer or request, cooperation offer request, very straightforward, and so that people can really understand what you are looking for or what you are offering. Okay, after you have done this, you have placed your offer or request, then you may go to participants and to look, because now you have your profile there, but now you want to look who comes for the matchmaking, and you want in an active way, so not passive, not waiting that others are calling for you and requesting meetings from you, but you yourself have to be active, and then you want yourself to meet other partners. So you go to participants, and you see here, you see now I gave, because it is in the beginning, the process has not started yet. It will start now after this webinar. So now you see only one participant, but this is as an example. So here you see a full list of all the participants who participate to the matchmaking. You can select here the matchmaking, so that you have only the ones who participate to the matchmaking, not everybody who participates to the conference. A reminder that the B2Match is used both for the conference and for the matchmaking. So you might want to select matchmaking, so you see the whole list of people who participate to the matchmaking. So, and then you can request meetings. You see also when you have identified, when you have placed the opportunities, you see the list of opportunities. You can go also by the opportunity. So you can go by the participants, but you can also go from the marketplace. After you have placed your opportunities, you can browse the opportunities, and then you can select based on the topics that are presented there on the offers or the requests. So both ways are possible. So either by participants or by the opportunities you see in the platform. You can then request meetings. Now there are no meetings, but you can request, here you request meetings. When you go up in the menu and you see meetings, here you can also request meetings. And also up in the menu, you have the agenda, and here you see the entire agenda of the event, and you see where you participate. So you participate. So for example, you see I have not selected now the site visits, but I can add now. So if in the registration process you forgot to select something, you can do it all the time. Yes, you can add, or you can remove panels or parts of the conference where you want or don't want to participate anymore. You see also the button conversations, so you can talk to people that are on the platform registered as you are at any time by sending messages to them, and these messages are strictly confidential. So this is only between you two when you talk to the people. So in order to sum up, so you have in the menu above, you have participants. So there you can see the persons or organizations who are participating. You can filter there according to type of organization or participation or not to the matchmaking. You can request meetings. You can start conversation. In the marketplace, you can create your offer and requests, which are of several types. Yes, product, service, partnership, project, cooperation, investments, and so on. And of course, there you browse the opportunities that are already listed, and you find relevant offers and requests. In the agenda, you find the overall agenda of the event, your agenda, and you can adjust your agenda. In meetings, you can request meetings and see the status of your meeting. So this is very important. You request a meeting, but this does not mean automatically that the meeting takes place. So first, the meeting has to be accepted by your counterpart. So this is why it is useful when you request meeting also to send a message to the person you want to meet with and to explain, why, why the reason in very short words, so that you raise the interest for the meeting. And in conversations, you can exchange messages with all other participants all the time, and this is strictly confidential. The matchmaking itself will take place. There are three possibilities. So if you go to Kosice, that means you are on site. So there you can meet people on site. So it will be on site. So you will both be at the same table, face to face. The second possibility is online. So you are not going to Kosice, and your counterpart with whom you meet is not going to Kosice. This will be online. So you will be online. You in front of your computer. The other one will be in front of the computer. And there is the third possibility: online on-site. You are in Kosice on-site, but you meet with somebody which is online. So you will be at a table. In front of you there will be nobody, but in person. But you will have the computer, and you will speak to your counterpart, which is online. This is why this is very important. If you come to Kosice and participate to the matchmaking, please bring your laptops with you, because for sure you will have this hybrid, also this hybrid meeting. So you will be on site, the other one will be online. So you need your computer, and of course you don't have to take care about the internet, because this will be provided by the organizers. So you can invite. This is an advanced feature. If you think that, for example, let's take the example, you want to submit a proposal in the next Danube transnational program with the Ukrainian partner, Slovak partner, Romanian partner. So yeah, we give an example. So this and you feel that to this meeting you need more people. So you can invite two additional participants to the meeting. So you make a meeting with Romanian, with Slovak, with Ukrainian. So in three, talking about the Danube region. The other, there are also the other possibilities. So when you have a situation where you need more people than just the two of you, you can invite two more participants by sharing the invite guest link when you're scheduling your meetings. So very short, this is very strictly confidential what you discuss with your counterpart, but you may want to be very careful with the information that you disclose. So you yes, you have to take into consideration things about commercial secrets and so on. Next steps. Now we kindly ask you to update your ECCP profiles. So this is an ECCP. It is an event organized by the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, and we ask you to update your profiles on the ECCP platform. The meeting phase is open, so as soon as you are accepted as a participant, you can start to book meetings with other people on the platform. Please check regularly, because participants register all the time. So that if you have selected and two meetings, let's say tomorrow, this does not mean that this is over. Maybe next week on Friday you will see some other additional partners or profiles that you are interested in, and then you can book meetings. Yes, this is all from my side. Thank you very much. We are at your disposal for questions, and all the time, all along the registration profiles, please feel to ask us via email. We are for you there to support you in this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daniel, and thank you for making the note that even the participants, by registering through B2Match, they can start their participation actually well in advance, and they can open conversations through the actual tool, which means that the networking can start already. There was a note in the chat box about the waiting time for the approvals. We've been waiting for the webinar today, and basically after today, we will be approving on a daily basis the registration. So feel free to start the process. If you have to make some amendments, as it was pointed, please go back to your profile and make some of the selections that haven't been made at the first place. So we have a couple of minutes. We open the floor for questions. I've seen earlier Alexander has raised his hand. So Alexander, if you're with us. Alexander, your check. No, he probably left already. So but please, if you have questions, and you can also write us, I mean, on the email addresses. If there's some, I mean, this video will be posted on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. So if you have some questions about the Bit2Match, you can go back to this recording and make sure that it is, I mean, go through the technical aspects again. Okay, there is a question I see in the Q&A box. Can two people from the organization join? We suggest you to register. I mean, due to the both you can register. We can make the selection for one person at the time being, but depends on the, as already been pointed, there is a limited capacity on site. But while we are checking the actual numbers for the registrants, we will, and if there is a opportunity, we will give a chance for two participants to join from one organization.
Yes, and maybe to add, in order to smooth the profile, please register with your business profile, business accounts, not Gmail, Yahoo, because we do not know who you really are. So this will help a lot. This will ease a lot the approval process.
With regards to that, I mean, we know already that some of the Ukrainian organization and partners, I just want to point that here, they are using mostly the Gmail accounts. We are working closely with the Ukrainian Cluster Alliance. So if you have a business account email address, please register with the business email address. If not, we will go back to our colleagues from Ukraine so they can verify the organization, as we have some internal rules with regards to the approval process. Okay. So we are open for more questions today, but of course, as already pointed, please feel free to email us if you have questions. Use the Bit2Match once you register. If all the materials will be published as well on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, you will see there is an event page on the Cluster Meet regions, but also there is a matchmaking page. So please follow the pages and the updates. I see that there is another question. Are there any other aspects of the registration put under verification apart from the email address? There is a geographical scope, and also, but Marek, if you can follow that, please.
Yes, thank you very much for this question. Actually, one of the main reasons why we are organizing is to enable linking of in the ecosystem. So we have cluster organizations which are multipliers. We have other business support organizations which are multipliers. multiplying effect is very much important for us. We need to look at the geographical aspect, very, very important. And of course, we need to be careful who we are inviting in this event on site, but online we invite very much all possible organizations, SMEs, anyone who wants to contribute to the integration of the Ukrainian companies, cluster organizations into the EU value chain. So basically, we want to be as much inclusive as possible, with the caveat that we want to have as well as possible the impact of this event. So the organizations which are multipliers, like cluster organizations, are very much privileged for this to participate on site. Thank you.
Thank you, Marek, for supporting the answer. We are welcome for more questions at this stage if you have. Or if not, we have reached the actual end of the webinar. So once again, thank you very much for all the presenters, and thank you very much for all who stayed today with us and shown interest in the forthcoming event. We hope to see you in Kosice. So thank you once again.
Thank you, and see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and see you in Kosice.
Thank you. Bye.